All right, everybody, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to start the meeting. First, we'll do a pledge allegiance. Everybody can please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business is Marquise Garcia, 19 Inlet Road. Please come up.
Here or?
Do you
I
have
need to see the
you have your
mailings.
paperwork?
Thank you. You gotta hand them to me. I gotta keep these, so. So this is everybody, right? All right. Okay, and did you post the property?
Yes.
You have any kind of picture of that?
That's the one in the back,
Perfect.
and that's the one in the front.
Okay, good. We're good to go. Okay.
Oh, you
can
get back
go
over there.
Back over there and you'll get sworn in.
Oh, shoot.
Garcia?
Actually, hold on one second. Actually, I haven't done this in a while. Hold on one second. Ken Fetterman, our solicitor to my left. License inspections, Bob Matique and Bo Fleming. And we also have Gerard. Colleen? And Martha Marcus here. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead, Colleen, our stenographer.
Mark's sitting in for our chair, who happens to be out tonight.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Is the green light on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is it M-E-R-Q-U-I-S?
MERQUIS.
Okay, tell the board what you want to tell the board.
Well, I just came from New York a few months ago. So, I have my, I just bought my first house. It was my ambition to do some work in my house, and I started building a shed. And someone called the city and said that it was improper built. But I just went through all the procedure, and I handled the paperwork and everything. So I hope that all the members of the board understand that I come from the city, from New York. I didn't have a house before, so I didn't know how it works. So, I came here to this quiet and beautiful town of Bristol Town. So that's why I'm here. And I thought that I could build it, without permission, but I did not know that. So now I'm
looking at a picture of the shed. It looks like it's complete, right?
It was almost complete when they called.
Okay, that's okay. I was just asking. It's now complete, correct?
It is complete.
Okay. And did you put it up yourself, or did a builder or contractor help you?
No, it was a friend of mine, me and a friend of mine. I'm a contractor too, so I'm doing some construction, so I just asked a friend of mine to help me out.
Okay.
Like a friend of yours, is he from New York also, or is he from local?
I'm sorry?
Your friend, is he local, or is he from New York also?
He's local. No, he's from Philadelphia.
So he should probably know then.
I'm sorry?
So he should know then about permits and stuff.
Well, he never say anything, so.
When did you build this shed?
You mean,
When did it go up? How long ago?
I believe like 2-3 months ago?
Okay. It's relatively new.
Yes.
Any questions from the board?
The real question is this: would you approved it basically, he's 59%. He's allowed 40. Under the circumstances, probably would have approved it, but
You have a question, to Bob. How much is this over on the impervious?
it's 20% over, 19%. It's 19% over. He's allowed 40%, it's 59%. His total impervious is 28.8. He's allowed 40%. He's asking for 58.9, 59%.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
The shed that's there also in the photos, is that being removed or is that going to stay?
The little one,
The little one, yes.
I just left it there, you know, because the other one wasn't built, so I could remove it. I can throw it out. You know, it was an old little one, so I can throw it out.
You know,
Thank you.
so if the board conditions the approval of your permit on, or the variance, I should say, on the removal of that, you don't have a problem with that?
I'm sorry?
You don't have a problem removing the smaller shed?
I don't.
Because that will help your impervious surface a little bit.
Yes. Okay.
What's the size of that shed, the small one?
The small one is like 6 by 6 or 6 by 8, I believe.
That's 36, it's 48, maybe close to 50 feet. It helps on the impervious. And you can remove it within 30 days?
In 2 days, I could remove it tomorrow if I have to.
Okay. You know you needed a permit,
That I knew.
and we get this too much. I'm saying, anytime you do anything going forward, you have to get a permit.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, unless you're just buying furniture for your house.
Right.
But if you're building something, you're taking away grass,
Okay.
you're putting cement down in any way,
Okay.
you're changing any of the side, front setbacks, anything like that,
Okay.
you have to ask for a permit. You have to
Perfect.
see Mr. McTagg first, and he'll tell
Okay.
you.
I have one more question for Bob. If this does go through, if it does, he has to go pull permits. Is that correct?
Correct.
And there's electric in it. So I have to pull electrical permit.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I sure hope not.
On the side.
Bob, do you have anything?
Nothing to add, Mark.
Are you aware, who drew this drawing for you?
Which
The drawing that's attached to your packet, it was done by, it looks like a survey was done.
if you show me the drawing, I will.
Here.
Let me.
It's a map of the property. It's in your packet.
This drawing?
Yeah.
Oh, this one?
This is where the shed
That was
is.
me.
That's
Yeah,
where the shed is, right?
That's where the shed is.
So then that's on the,
Okay, but is it on the sanitary easement?
No, it's not.
Okay, so why did you draw it this way?
That's, they told me that the sanitary goes. They told me that the sanitary goes 5 feet from the back,
He has approval
Fence?
from Lower Box Joint.
What's that?
He has approval from Lower Box Joint.
Okay, all right, it's in the packet.
And it is over
Yeah, it's in the it's in the, you know what, it's in the packet. Thank you, Bob.
I'm sorry?
the shed is on the easement by 3 feet.
Yes, it's 7 foot. I moved, I was going to put it, you know, and at the first, I was going to put it at 3 feet, but then when I went through the city and everything, I moved it 7 feet, I'm sorry.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
anybody in the audience want to speak for or against? All right, board, make a decision.
I'll make a motion to approve that, with the condition that the smaller shed to the right is removed in its entirety, including the footings, concrete, and any rock, gravel, or any other items that may be underneath of it.
I'll second it.
Gerard Lycon,
Yes.
Colleen Dunn,
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus, yes. You're approved, but just from here on out, anything you do, get a permit.
Yes, sir.
right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Should I,
You're excused.
thank you. Oh, I have.
Next order of business is Kayla Oliveria and George Benjerano. Excuse me if I mess that up.
All good?
Okay, thank you. And do you have a posting of the property? Great, thank you so much. Okay, we're good to go on this one.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Kayla Oliveria.
Jorge Bejarano.
Just one speak at a time, and just use the microphone whoever's going to speak.
Okay. So we are seeking to have a special exception for our backyard chickens. Our family and I homeschool our children. We use our chickens to not only provide eggs for our family, but provide our children educational resources. Any given day, members of our neighborhood are in our yard enjoying our chickens. Our chickens are confined in our yard, well loved by all who visit and bring us pride. We are a hardworking Marine Corps veteran husband and wife team who love animals and providing for our family. They provide my husband, who is a Purple Heart recipient, and I much needed therapy. George and I are both 100% permanent and total disabled combat veterans. George has served 5 tours between Iraq and Afghanistan, and myself in Afghanistan. The chickens motivate us to wake up and care for them. We are passionate about caring for others and animals. The chickens bring our community together, especially the children. In a neighborhood unfortunately filled with drug issues, these guys give our youth an outlet.
How many do you have?
9. And if you could click the link.
Is that all you plan on having?
Yes. We had more, but we got rid of quite a bit because we had eggs that hatched and we just didn't want to have a nuisance, so,
Okay, so you had 10 at one point?
yes.
No,
No, I'm not,
only 9.
we have 9 right now currently, yes,
How long have you had them?
since January.
Questions from the board?
Page is not found.
Yeah, I got a question. I stopped out and looked at their house, and I didn't go in the backyard. House is very beautiful. The outside looks very nice. Looks like they keep up with their stuff. It's very friendly looking out front. I was just stopping by to see what the situation was, but it looks good for me.
Could you go back to this? So we have our chickens confined to a 5,100 square feet in our backyard, which has an 8-foot privacy fence along with an aviary net on top to prevent our chickens from getting out.
Sorry, along with what?
An aviary net on top of our privacy fence. We put chickens up in a coop at night and only let them out during daytime hours, which are in accordance with Bristol Township's sound ordinance. But I typically don't get to letting them out until 11 a.m. or later. We clean the chicken coop out daily and applied gravel around their coop to easily hose down the area daily. And we drained their water trough into a drain that was put in our yard when it was built into the sewer using a pump so our chickens have fresh water daily without, no problem. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You have in your packet a chicken care plan?
Yes.
That's what basically you're reading?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're gonna follow this plan?
Yes, sir.
This is part of the record?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you-
Okay. Can we
Just
go
to save you
next?
some time,
Okay.
it's in the record,
Yeah.
just so you know. But you can read it if you want.
We do have, anytime our chickens, we hatch them ourselves, so we don't, make sure we have healthy ones. If they start maturing enough and we notice they crow, we have to, we try our best to get rid of them as soon as possible. But we do have one rooster because my daughter absolutely adores him and he has become her best friend. If you could go to the next page. This is Howard. The day after Christmas this past year, we lost our grandfather. It was really hard for us, but especially Mary, who was best friends with him and his little shadow. Mary named her all black, very rare breed of a rooster after Howard. He was hatched out of our first eggs, which just came off Amazon. They were no special breeds, just a backyard mix. And so it was really cool for this type of chicken to even come out of the eggs. Looking into it, we found that this specific breed is a sacred breed from Indonesia, and as they are known to facilitate communication between the living and the spirit world, so it was just really cool to see. If you could go to the next page. Here's some photos and plans. There's Mary and Howard and our plan. You can go to the next one. Here's our yard. Mary is sitting there. You can't really tell because Howard's all black, but he's literally sitting right next to her as she does schoolwork on the swing. And this is a picture.
Have you gotten any complaints about your rooster?
We did not particularly have any complaints, but apparently through the talk, there's been a lot of complaints behind our back. But we took a video early in the morning today near the houses that specifically gave a complaint, and no roosters, Howard, could be heard. When we had 3 roosters mature and start crowing, you could hear them, but we got rid of them, and since we only have Howard right now, which is the all-black chicken sitting next to Mary.
The only one you're gonna have?
Yes. Next slide, sir. Here's some pictures of the neighborhood kids coming together and enjoying the chickens. The first picture on the left is Ava, who lives right across the street from us. She's filling up the water trough that she helped me drain. And the picture on the right is some of the neighborhood kids helping me originally put the chicken stuff together. You could go to the next picture, sir. And these are signatures of people who pretty much, I had this on the original copy, but when I made copies, it didn't take on all the copies, but this was in the packet, and this is 1945 Parkview, 3401 Hilltop Ave, 1955 Parkview, 1934 Parkview, 1930 Parkview, 1908 Parkview. I think this is Ritter. It's a house on Ritter, which is right directly across from us, and 1938 Parkview. You could go to the next page, sir. And that's it.
And those, I'm sorry, those signatures, or those addresses, there are people that support your application?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And it's on the original copy that I turned in.
Right.
I also have a picture on my phone if you would like it.
Okay.
What's the max number of chickens you're looking to have? Just keep it to 9 you have, or?
We were thinking 10 and below.
10? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the board?
I have one. Bob, she mentioned about hosing off into the drain that's existing in her backyard. Is that going directly to the sewer, or is that a
I was gonna
storm sewer?
address the same comment. What is exactly getting drained into the sewer lateral?
It's just so the yard doesn't overflow into our neighbors. When the house was built, they put drainage in, so I'm assuming it just, excess water just goes down in there.
So it's not going into the sewer, it's going into a drainage, like a seepage bed?
Exactly.
Okay.
Anything else, Bob, or is that it?
That's it, Mark.
Anyone in the audience want to speak for or against this? Come up here and get sworn in, please.
Yep, Candace Bellardo. That's correct. B-I-L-A-R-D-O.
Can you raise your right hand, please?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your address for the record, please.
Sure, 6304 Mercer Circle in Bordentown, New Jersey, 08505.
0805.
08505. Yeah. So I have a written consent from their neighbor that lives across the street. Her name is Stephanie Williams, and her statement reads, I, Stephanie Williams, live across the street from Kayla Oliveria. The chickens are not a bother, nor do I hear them ever. If anything, she should be allowed to own the chickens. They are well taken care of and loved. To include in this, there are 3 households in Fergusonville that have chickens. If she has to surrender hers, then they should too. And she lives at 3401 Hilltop Ave in Bristol, PA.
If you're for this hearing, raise your hand. And how many people here are against? Everyone else is for, right? Is that correct? So let's hear from someone who's against, so we can hear your perspective.
Naomi Conrad, Naomi. I'm at 1923, CONRAD.
And raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your address, please.
1923 Parkview. Good evening. We're here because of the amount of animals, okay, first off. Secondly, the rooster, but the amount of animals. You only saw a little bit here. There's 5 dogs, a cat, a bird, 2 wild turkeys, 9 chickens, we have ducks, and we have a rooster in a 60-foot wide property. They get out on a regular basis. The neighbors have to shush them back over there. Wild turkeys have big thorns and attack. Wild turkeys are illegal in Pennsylvania to own. The smell is horrible. The amount of flies that this has brought. The bird carries on all day, especially when they go away. Not as much when they're there, but they're not there often. When it goes away, I don't know if the rooster comes, I don't know, separation anxiety or whatever, but that bird carries on the whole time, all weekend when they go away too. That's what we deal with. We can't cook out or anything. So that is under the nuisance ordinances.
Okay, and how many, just so I understand, how many residents are against, separate residents, just so?
I don't have a count. I know
I just meant
tonight.
in the audience,
Oh,
just to make sure we don't,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I see.
so basically everyone would pretty much say the same thing.
Yeah, you'd have to ask them.
Right, and we will,
Okay,
just trying to get a feel,
okay,
if you feel the need to.
thank you.
You're welcome. Sure, come on up.
Denise Schaub, Schaub.
S-C-H-A-U-B?
Correct.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your address, please.
1940 Ritter Avenue, Bristol, PA 19007. Hello, everybody. I live directly behind this house. My property runs the entire length of her backyard. First of all, I signed the notice about the zoning hearing tonight at 5:45 at my front door. Otherwise, I would have not known about this. I don't walk around the neighborhood. I would have never saw the sign in the yard. I wouldn't have known. Second is the rooster that they have starts at daybreak, continues the entire day, throughout the day. Sitting on my deck, I have to listen to it. I can hear it through my closed windows with my air conditioners on. My boys have threaten to go over there and start shooting. I've seen them on the fence, sitting on top of their 6-foot wood fence. They sit on top of it. That's the turkeys, I believe. I've seen the ducks. I don't see any netting. The family is very respectable. They're very kind. The only things, there's just too many animals there. There's too much animal noise. Sitting out back, I can't sit on my deck and enjoy my backyard because the roosters, if it's a hot, no breeze day, I can smell. The flies this year are unbelievable in my backyard. They're green flies, the magnetic ones, they're all over. I can say they really are not home a whole lot. If they did, they would hear the rooster all day, squawking all day. I believe when they're home, the rooster's a little quieter, but majority of the time, they're not there. What else? There was something else. The flies are unbelievable. One day, I killed 48 flies sitting on my deck. And I meant to tell you, Mr. Lycon, you said you drove past their house and it was beautiful. This is one of the new houses they just built, of the 3 in Fergusonville. That's why it's beautiful, because it's still brand new.
I just looked.
Yeah, well, it's still brand new. That's why it looks as nice as it does. But I have to tell you, the flies, the smell, and the sound of the rooster, at the second the light starts to shine in the morning, they are going. I can't have my windows open. Even though they're closed, I can still hear it, but it muffles it. I'm totally against any of the chickens, the roosters, the ducks, anything like that outside. It's a nuisance. Sorry. Okay, that's it. So I live directly behind them, so. Al is also here too. He's also directly.
What about the chickens?
The chickens?
Yeah.
I find them sitting on top of the fence, on the wood fence.
The chickens do?
Yes, they jump up. There's a coop.
Just saying,
There's a coop that they jump on.
a lot of complaints about the rooster and
The rooster's terrible.
the turkey.
And the chickens,
What about the chickens? Are they
the
okay?
chickens, I don't think I hear the chickens. I hear the roosters. I see the chickens all the time. They hop up on the coop and then they hop on the top of the fence. So that's
That's what they do.
okay.
The same.
But the smell, the flies, it's overwhelming. And like I said, I back up directly to their property. Al is here. He's on the other side of her property. And then there's another neighbor that's on the other side. So everybody that's touching her property is here, and we're all against it. Okay? Thank you.
Does the chickens ever land in your yard?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're fair game, though, if they do. My kids
Whoops.
We heard that.
have said that.
Excuse me, she would like to speak next.
Okay, after her, she got.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Susan Polowick, Pawlowic.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Can you state your name for the address? Address for the record, please.
3422 Hilltop Avenue, Bristol. So what they described here would be great if they lived on a farm, but they live in a residential neighborhood. What they have said about the rooster is true. It screams all day long, almost every day. There's a reason that the ordinance is in place. It's because chickens are dirty, they carry disease, and they smell. And only a farm has the facilities and the equipment to take care of them. We live in a residential neighborhood, we don't have that. It is too small of an area. If you grant this variance, it will be difficult for you not to grant the variance to anybody else that comes along. I have a next door neighbor who has chickens. She takes very good care of them, but they still end up in my yard. She comes right after and gets them. So my fear is that I'm gonna have flies and smells right next to me if anybody and their brother is granted
permission to do this. Like I said, there's a reason that it's not allowed in a residential area.
Is your house affected by it now?
The rooster, yes. But as I said, the reason that
Hear the sound.
all day. And I work from home, and I have Zoom meetings, and it's not welcome.
What is your address, ma'am? Over here. What is your address?
3422 Hilltop.
Thank you.
So I also would have been a little more open to their request if they hadn't gotten the chickens first, but they got the chickens, and then they were told that they had to remove them, and then they placed the request, and the zoning notice was placed right next to their front door where you couldn't read it. About a week ago, it was placed halfway up the front yard where you still can't read it, and half the time it was falling down on the front yard. So I don't even know if we have a good feel for who's for it and who's against it. Thank you.
Can I come?
Hold on a second. She was waiting.
Oh.
Jennifer Dennis.
D-E-N-N-I-S.
Yes, like Dennis the Menace.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give?
Yes.
Can you state your address for the record?
1934 Parkview Ave. I am directly across the street, so I look at the front of their house from where I reside. I go outside, I smoke my cigarette in the morning, and I go outside between 6:15 and 7:30. I'm in and out my front door before I do leave for work. I do not hear the rooster. I'm being honest, I do not hear it in my house. I'm being honest. They do let it out, and I am also the neighbor that has gotten the loose ones inside the yard when they weren't home. But since then, I've called them, let them know what's going on, bring the chickens, the turkeys in, the ducks. The turkeys are now gone because of the issue. They also placed netting up top since the turkeys were sitting on the fence. So I haven't seen any chickens or anything since the ordinance, and they've been aware of this. But I do not hear them, but I am not home past 7:30 generally throughout the day. I do get home between 5:15 and 5:30, but it's a mild little and then the neighbors down the corner, they have a rooster too that you hear. And then the people behind me, I guess they just have chickens, but I hear it more though at the end of the corner. So I don't know, they took measures to keep them secluded. I just want to say that, and I'm the one that got them in the yard when they weren't home on 2 occasions. That is it.
Thank you.
Good evening. Rucha Bhausa. R-U-C-H-A Bhausa. B-H-A-V-S-A-R.
Raise your right hand, please.
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your address, please.
1929 Parkview Avenue, Bristol, 19007. Good evening. I have the problem because we are living beside, you can see the house nearby, that's mine. So I have the problem because her chickens always like come outside and sitting on my backyard. And the smells, the flyers, they like smelling so bad. And one day we were at home, her chicken, I don't know, somehow the door was open. All the chickens get out and they were just sitting on my backyard sofas and everything. They always like do the poos and everything near under my table. Like the potty shitty things. So we have problems with that. So I can smell all the dirty smells and everything. So that's why we are against it.
How long ago did that happen?
It's like 4 to 5 times.
Okay. In the last couple months, you're saying?
No, from last 1 month, 1 or 2.
Thank you.
Yeah.
1 or 2 times or 1 or 2 months?
I'm sorry,
1 or 2 times or 1 or 2 months?
2 months.
4 to 5 times.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Mary. Yes. Oliveria.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I'm trying to tell the whole entire truth. So when I first got these chickens, they got hatched. I was so excited, and I love them so much. The soon we put them in our backyard, we and somebody unlocked our gate when they were grown up, and that's why we have a lock for them now, and we hide the key from somebody who ever unlocked it, and that's why the chickens went on our next door's neighbor's couch and did all the stuff to it. Whoever unlocked the gate, I don't know who did. My parents were all at work, same as me, and my sister was with us too. And we came home, and our front neighbor told us what happened, and then we don't know who unlocked, so we don't know who unlocked the gate, and my front neighbor did not see what happened, so we don't know what happened, so yeah, and the picture that you see at Howard, he follows me everywhere I go. And we got rid of most of the chickens and the roosters that were loud. And we got rid of the turkeys too, because one of the turkeys weren't feeling good because they probably did not have a big space. We got rid of the turkeys. We got rid of the loud roosters and stuff. And my mom was right. We only use them for eggs or meat. So that's what we use them for. And about Howard, he follows me everywhere, and I love him too. And since my pop passed, I had somebody that was named Howard in my rooster, and he always followed me, and I was always my pop-up shadow, and now Howard's my shadow. He sits with me when I sit on the bench. I pat down, and he just comes up and sits, and I love him so much. And I don't want to get rid of these chickens. And me and my mom work so hard to take care of them. And no matter what, it's cold or it's late or it's hot, we still do it either way. And we don't care if it's raining or not. It was raining before and we did it either way. And we love these so much. And we want to take care of them and make sure they have their good life before they passed away. So I want to keep these chickens. I love them so much, and that's all I have to say. You're welcome.
My name's Albert Gearing.
Albert, can you spell your last name, please?
G-E-E-H-R-I-N-G.
R-I-N-G?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You might just want to pick the microphone up, make sure the green light's on, please.
Yep, I live next door. Daughter Mary, a fine little young lady, came and asked me to sign a paper about Save a Rooster. I have no problem with that. My problem is the chickens and everything else. All these fine people, all their supporters are great. How close do they live to these chickens and everything else? I live 6 feet from this, on a property line. I only lived in this house for 51 years. I only been in this room twice. 5 years ago, for a variance to put 3 houses out of 120 feet, 40 foot. My bitch was, let's have 2 ranchers, 60-foot properties, and look normal like all the other ranchers on the block. I was 80 last Sunday. I had a barbecue. I had more goddamn flies than I had grass and any other thing. I had a hot dog in one hand, a fly swatter, and a spray in the other, and I was embarrassed. All these supporters are great people. I thank these 2 folks for their military service. I was a veteran also. But none of these people here live 6 feet to these property. They're across the street. They're supporters of families and friends. They love chickens, everything. I had dogs before I had kids. My kids are 60 and down. I have no quarrel with dogs, cats. That looks beautiful. On that side, I have 6 feet. 6 foot retaining fence. I don't know if there's a barracuda on that side of the fence. It smells. I never had flies. These people never had flies. Now we're swarmed with flies. Chickens can walk around there pretty. I don't know what's on the other side of that 6 foot fence. There's no retainer from the house to the 6 foot from that side. Dogs drop, cats drop, chickens drop. People need things. People need milk. They don't have a cow in their yard. I feel sorry for the little ones. Chickens, ducks, turkeys are not family pets. You can love anything that doesn't make it a pet. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I thank you both for your service. And I don't want to aggravate you, but I'm in a bad situation. I have people sitting there telling me it smells on my side. I said, I don't know what's on that side of that 6 foot fence. I can't see. I don't want to get the little one upset. She's a fine little girl. But I'm too old to be fighting with flies the rest of my life. Thank you.
Hi, Alexis Casper. Yeah, Casper, K-A-S-P-E-R.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I did. 45 Greystone Lane in Levittown. I'm just waiting until they're done. Okay, so my name is Alexis Casper. I've been best friends with Kayla for about 20 years now. Mary and Bella are my nieces. I do have 2 daughters of my own. One is 7 and one is 4. They do spend quite a few days over at the Oliveria's houses. Excuse me. And one of the biggest things that they get so excited for is going to see the chickens, the roosters, the ducks, everything that they have. I've been there multiple times as well, too. I am busy, obviously. But I've never had any issues from myself. I'm very picky with what my 4-year-old touches. She still sometimes puts stuff in her mouth, and that would be one of the biggest things if, she touched, like, I guess, like, duck feces or whatever you want to call it. I've never had any issues myself. And like I said, I've been best friends with her for 20 years. I trust her with my kids, and I've never had any issues. I might not live with her, but I do spend quite some time with her. So, thank you.
You'll be the last one.
Carl, C-A-R-L, Conrad, C-O-N-R-A-D.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you
I do.
God? State your address, please, for the record.
1923 Parkview Avenue, Bristol, 19007.
Can you just lift that mic up and speak into it?
Okay. First of all, thank you for your service. I'm a disabled vet too, by the way. One of my concerns with these animals is the vermin they're gonna bring in the neighborhood also. If I could smell those chickens, the fox could smell that chicken. The coyote could smell that chicken. And they're gonna come in and they're gonna come and get those chickens. Along with it, there's the propensity for rabies and other things, raccoons. The vermin that are gonna come in this neighborhood behind these chickens might be an even bigger problem than just the chickens. And the rooster, that rooster crows all day long. When they drive out of the driveway, that thing lights up and it doesn't shut up. That's just pretty much it. Thank you.
Well, just to throw this out there, I'm not sure what the wish of the board is gonna be, but if it does get approved, and if the complaints keep coming in, like, people are gonna come out and check on it. So, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. But just say, I don't know if it's gonna get approved or not, but just wanna let you guys know that.
Anybody can come visit anytime they want.
Well, I'm just letting you guys know. If the complaints come, somebody's gonna come out and check it, and then whatever happens, happens. So. Any questions from the board, or are you guys good?
I do.
Okay.
As a homeowner, someone had mentioned you owned 5 dogs. Do you have a kennel license?
We own
Can you come up to the microphone and speak?
We own Kayla's Pretty Paws in Lawrenceville Township. Kayla's Pretty Paws in Lawrenceville Township, New Jersey. My business owns my dogs that I use for education, and we bring them to our commercial building, which we are allowed to have. We do bring home, my husband has a service animal, and I have a service animal. They're both dogs, so they're not counted as dogs. And we have 2 pets that reside with us. So there's 4 altogether that are with us in our house at all time. But like I said, 2 are service animals. And our standard poodle that I use to teach people how to dog groom comes with me to and from work. So I technically only have 2 that are considered pets at the house.
What's the wish of the board?
I vote to deny their application.
I'll second it.
Gerard Lycon?
Yes.
Eileen Dunn?
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus? Yes.
Yes is no. Sorry.
Sorry.
You'll have to work it out. Township.
We could have a sit-down meeting if you want to stop at the township building tomorrow. We could discuss everything further.
Truthfully, you have 30 days to appeal it after the opinion. You're here without an attorney.
We have 30 days to appeal it, right? Yeah.
After the opinion. The opinion comes out within 45 days. Then you have another 30 days after that.
To get rid of them or to keep fighting, like to keep moving?
If you stop at the township building tomorrow, we'll discuss that further. Okay? Thank you. You can ask for me, Bob McTagg.
Technically, as far as this board goes, the appeal period hasn't started or ran. It's about 75 days away, about 2.5 months. That'll be the end of it.
You'll see us.
So during that time,
There's not much you can do with the board. The board's made its decision.
no, I know it's made a decision.
But you'll have the time to work it out with the township. We're not saying anything in terms of how much time you have or don't have to play.
No, I understand that.
The legal decision does not become final until the appeal period runs. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
You came to the board for a legal answer, you've got your answer, you have an appeal period, it's gonna take 75 days. After that, it'll be final.
And just get with Bob sooner than later. That's all. Get with Bob sooner than later, in case you get something worked out.
Thank you again for your time.
Sorry about that.
Thank you for your service. Frank and Kathleen Ifco, 830 West Lake Circle.
Hi. All right, long time no see.
Thank you. We're good on the notices are good.
Me too.
There's enough people that showed up.
Oh, hey Bob, it's the other one. 7:05. I got 2 tonight. Yeah, I might have 4 next month.
No, it's
FYI.
it's exempt probably. They're probably exempt.
I got lazy with this one.
They're service hours.
No, that's. That one's good. Yeah, I'm doing this one. That's
Ready when you are, Bryce.
Good. All right. Good evening, Board. Bryce McWigan here from Begley Carlin on behalf of the applicants Frank and Kathleen Ifco. They're the owners of the property located at 705 State Road here in Croydon. A little bit of background here. The property is 0.143 acres and is presently part of the C Commercial Zoning District. The property is presently improved by a single-story structure that's approximately 932 square feet. It's most recently been used as a medical office, pretty much mostly for the past 50 years or so, up until the past 10, where it's sat vacant as my clients have tried to find a tenant for it after the prior tenant of 25 years passed away. Unfortunately, they haven't really had too much success with that, as you can tell by the fact it's been vacant for about a decade. And obviously COVID hasn't really helped in terms of now smaller offices are really going out of fashion very quickly. So at this point, we're here today requesting one single use variance to convert the existing structure to a single family detached dwelling. The property at issue, if you look here there we go. So if you look here, this is the property at issue. Like I said, it's a single structure. You have 3 residences right across the street. It's technically this whole corridor is commercial. However, it is essentially mixed use, so we just want to change our use to match those. Bob, if you switch to the next page for me. Yeah, so what you see here, this is a picture of the existing structure. As part of our plan, we plan to remodel and renovate the structure both inside and out to make it look more like a residence and also to spruce it up a little bit. Because it's been vacant for so long, it's been the target of vandalism, theft, and just general loitering. And it's kind of difficult to police those when you don't have someone at the property on a regular basis. So we do want to invest money to renovate this and to update it and to make it something that'll fit with the rest of the neighborhood. And my clients who are both here tonight, they're very committed to what their local area looks like, considering that Frank and Kathleen's family owns a fair number of parcels in this area, including one right next door and 3+ right across the street. So they are committed to making sure that this fits with the community and is something that actually blends with the surrounding properties. Bob, if you can get me the next page for me. Thanks. This is, as you can see, looking down State Road. You see the building right here to the mid-left. You see residences here just to the right, right across the street. Next picture for me. Thank you. This is coming up First Avenue. You have the structure here to the left. And again, the residences, other residences you can see right down the street. So at the end of the day, what you're going to have here is a single-family detached dwelling, 932 square feet still. The basement will not be livable quarters. There will be more storage and for utilities and whatnot. It will be 2 bedrooms. You will also have 1 bathroom, kitchen, and a living area as well. So we plan to put some, like I said, plan to put some money into the property to refurbish it and to, like I said, keep it a little bit more updated and hopefully finally get a tenant in that property and someone who will reasonably use that property and contribute towards making this area look a little better than it currently is because, again, this has been vacant for so long, this piece of land. So I have both of my clients here tonight. I have Frank and Kathleen Ifko. Like I said, they've been the owners of the property and their family has owned the property for decades now, going back 30, 40 years, about 80 years. Sorry, I shorted it by a little bit.
That's a long time.
So again, just to confirm, no modifications to the outside of the structure, no changes to the footprint or the parking or anything like that. We just plan to renovate, refurbish, and restore the building and to make it a little bit more residential in character. But otherwise, we're not requesting any dimensional variances. The building as existing will remain. Like I said, just general modifications. So with that, I'd just like to bring Frank up real quick to proffer to my statements here to the board. And then obviously, Frank and Kathleen will be more than happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Sure, thank you.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Frank, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the board. Tell them where you live.
Frank Ifko, 1145 Eagle Point Way, Chesapeake, Virginia.
All right. And you drove all the way back from Virginia tonight to be here before the board and to answer the questions. Is that right?
300 miles.
All right. Yeah, just a quick little trip, right?
Yeah.
So you heard all my statements to the board. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you understand them all?
I did.
Do you agree with them all?
I do.
Anything you would like to change or add?
No, I think you hit it all, really.
Would you be willing to adopt my statements to the board as your testimony here this evening?
I would.
And obviously, if the board has any questions of you or of Kathleen, your wife, who's sitting behind you, you'll be more than happy to answer those. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So with the introduction of the photographs as part of our packet, this would conclude the applicant's case. And if the board has any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer those.
Bob, do you have anything?
Nothing to add, Mark.
All right. Questions from the board?
Sorry, it's my first time here. Never did this before. Hi, I am Crystal Urban. CRYSTAL. URBAN.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your address, please.
729 First Avenue?
First Avenue.
First Avenue, correct. I live behind this property. I'm okay for it becoming a residence. I just need the concern about coming in and out of it and the parking. That's a beautiful picture, but it doesn't show the vehicles that park on the right-hand side of the property, on the other side of the road. And when cars park on the grass area, it sticks out. So it turns from a 2-lane into a 1-lane, and that is also a cut-through for when the light turns red. The other day, I just sat through a light 3 times before I could even get to First Avenue because of the cars that make a left-hand turn on Cedar. They kind of fight with people coming southbound. So I just need to know the concern of that corner and the parking and how the property, the back end of the property is gonna be. Because it's just really hard to get in and out. And then when you try to make a left-hand turn out of the street, it's all blocked off by the hair cutteries clients and the hardware clients. So it's really hard to make a left-hand turn. I just want to make sure that they're not going to park in front of the building on State Road, so you can't even make a right or a left.
All right. Questions from the board?
Yes.
Questions from the board? All right. 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 Questions from
Yeah, so, and I appreciate your comments here. Bob, can you switch back to the first page for me? All right, first one. All right, so there's already a large parking area to the back, and that's really the only thing that we plan to use. There's actually more parking than you would otherwise be required here too, so we're not gonna really have any reason to have people park, whether it's in front or on the road or anything like that.
Well, okay, so that's my main concern.
Okay.
Because like you guys are gonna have a family in there, are you gonna put a fence in there, you're gonna dig out the backyard? Like that, like now you're saying it's gonna be for parking, but come down the line, are they gonna wanna put grass back there? What are they gonna do with the rocks and the parking? That's my only concern.
Right now, we don't have any changes planned for the back area to make that grass or to change the parking configuration. We know this is a tighter area, and trust me, Frank and Kathleen will tell you, they've had issues with other local businesses parking on their property and
Oh, I
parking.
know.
It's a problem, so we're not.
I lived back there for 8 years, so
Yeah.
I know. I've watched that property and they cut the grass, they take care of it. I mean, I haven't seen any vandalism or people stealing out of there. But I mean, I have lived there for 8 years, so I do know that it's.
Yeah, of course. So parking is a big concern in the area, so we're definitely not looking to remove or reduce that. So the plan is for people to park on the property itself. Luckily, we do have plenty of parking in the rear for that, and that's all we're looking to do right now.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. And again, that concludes the applicant's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there gonna be any construction done to the house at all, or just cleaned up to make it livable?
I'm sorry?
Is there gonna be any construction done to the house at all, or just cleaned up to make it livable?
It's gonna be totally refurbished inside.
Everything redone, okay.
Yeah.
But the outside's gonna stay the same, just the inside?
Oh, no, the outside will get
Everything, okay.
updated, yeah.
All right. Any other questions from the board? Anybody else in the audience for or against? All right. It's up to us.
I'll put a motion for it.
I'll second.
Gerard Lycon,
Yes.
Colleen Dunn,
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, let's get building.
Good luck. All right, we're gonna take a quick 5 minutes. What's that?
Time for the bathroom break. Although I think somebody beat you to it.
All right, number 5 is asking for a continuance.
We're just noting that now to get out of the way. So go ahead, Bryce.
All right. Good evening again, Board. Bryce McWigan once more from Begley Carlin here on behalf of the applicant VT777 Inc. and Tatiana Ksenzovskaya, KSENDZOVSKAYA. The owners of the property located at 611 and 615 Neshaminy Road in Croydon. Now, this property is a little funky. It's 0.387 acres, currently zoned R2. That's not the funky part. It's unique because it is one single residential property that is improved by 2 separate residential homes. Tatiana just bought this property about a month and a half ago. And again, the plan right now is literally to draw a line on a page, split it in 2 so that each house sits on its own parcel. That's generally the nuts and bolts of it. There is a second part of the plan because Tatiana intends to live at 611 Neshaminy Road with her family, but she also intends for her mother to live there as well. And so she wants to create an in-law suite for her mother on the first floor of the property. There is no additional construction or improvements associated with either lot, apart from the addition of parking. So because this is generally a simple application, but there's 2 parts, I want to address each one individually and rather briefly. So the first part, like I said, is relief that's necessitated because of the proposed subdivision. Again, we're drawing a line right down the center of the lot in order to create 2 parcels, one for each existing home. As you see here on the first page of our PowerPoint, you have both homes. You have 611, which I'm pointing to on the left, 615 on the right, and the plan is, like I said, just to kind of carve it right in 2. Bob, can you get me the next slide for me? Thanks. So as part of the subdivision, the only actual changes are there is a little concrete patio that kind of joins both of the properties. We're going to remove that to actually fully divide the 2. And we're adding a large driveway on the second lot, 615, in order to provide 2 off-street parking spaces to comply with the ordinance. In general, in total, because of these changes, it results in a net increase of 86 square feet of impervious surface. That's it. However, because of the orientation of the lots, the fact that the Lot A, which is 611, has more building coverage than Lot B, 615, because Lot B will have more impervious than Lot A, we need some variances related to essentially existing conditions. Because even though the lot as it sits here right now is existing non-conforming, because the division when we split it isn't equal, one has a little more than the other. So because of that, we're asking for a building coverage variance for Lot A. We're asking for an impervious surface variance for Lot B. We're asking for a variance for lot widths, because the lot width is a shade under 50 feet where you otherwise need 60. And there's going to be a side yard setback variance for Lot A, which is this lot, because the house is very, very close to the proposed line in the center. That's it. And again, it's mostly because these are existing conditions. It just so happens somebody built 2 houses on the same parcel, and we're just trying to more so normalize the area. So that's the reason for the relief associated with the proposed subdivision. The second part of the application relates to Tatiana's desire to have her elderly mother live with her in Lot A, which is going to be the lot on the left, 611 Neshaminy. Again, no actual modifications or changes to the footprint of the structure. We're not building an additional in-law suite. We're just using the existing first floor for her mother to live. Now that first floor already has a bedroom, already has a half bath, and has an area that she can improve with the kitchenette. She can do all of this. She can add a shower, she can add a kitchenette without any relief from the zoning hearing board as far as I understand, because that's allowable under the code. That's not an additional dwelling unit or accessory apartment. But she would like to add a two burner stovetop to the kitchenette, which would create essentially an accessory dwelling unit, because that would be cooking facilities. That would be a cooking structure there. So because we're seeking to add the 2-burner stovetop, that turns what would otherwise be by right into an accessory apartment. An accessory apartment is a special exception here in Bristol Township, and also there's a limitation that any accessory apartment cannot be more than 30% of the size of the main residence on the lot that it's on. So because this is one floor of essentially a 3-floor house, it's larger than 30%, and obviously we need a special exception to be able to move forward with essentially that 2-burner stovetop. So at the end of the day, the variances that we're asking for the proposed subdivision are very small in nature, chiefly deal with existing conditions, and otherwise it's necessitated by the fact we're just trying to normalize the property. Eventually, Tatiana might be interested in selling 615. Right now, her colleague of hers, is going to live there with her family, but in the future, they might buy it. But right now, we can't sell it to them because it's part of our own principal lot. So we're trying to normalize it, so that's why those variances are necessary. And the variances for the accessory apartment, again, minor in nature, and just to allow her essentially to put a 2-burner stovetop in there. We'd be more than happy to agree to a limitation that only blood relatives or family would be able to reside in that accessory apartment, and we'd be happy to record a deed restriction that would run with the land and prevent future Airbnbs or for-profit
Okay, so
rentals.
no rental.
In the future, correct. Yeah, we're not trying to make out monetarily on this. This is just, again, to better allow Tatiana to use her home and to live there with her family. So with that, I would like to have Tatiana come up here real quick.
Hi. Tatiana, Tatyana. Yes, Ksendzovskaya.
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Tatiana. Please introduce yourself to the board. Tell them where you live.
My name is Tatyana Ksendzovskaya. Currently, I live at 33 Brayborn Drive in Richboro.
All right.
Brayborn Drive. Yes.
B-R-A-E. And you plan to move to this property, is that right? Yes. All right. And obviously, you just bought it, so that plan's a little delayed, and you got to go through some construction first, correct?
It took us 6 months to buy it. Yeah, but yes.
Congratulations. Now, tonight, you sat in that second row, you heard everything I said to the board, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you understand all of my statements to the board?
I did.
Did you agree with all of my statements?
I do.
Anything you'd care to add or change?
No, I just wanted to say that my mom is a 75-year-old handicapped woman, and that little kitchenette area will really help her to prevent her going up the steps to the main kitchen and to break her hip. That's all I'm trying to do, is to make her safe. That's it.
So, other than that, anything else you want to tell the board?
No, that's it.
Are you willing to adopt my statements to the board as your testimony here tonight?
Absolutely.
And obviously, if the board has any questions, you'll be more than happy to answer those. Is that right?
Yes.
And you also have your surveyor here, Michael Zavyaskin, Z-A-V-Y-A-Z-K-I-N. That second Z always gets me. And you have Michael here also, so if the board has any technical questions about the actual project or the subdivision, he'll be more than happy to answer those, correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right. With that, that concludes the applicant's presentation. And if the board has any questions, we'll be more than happy to address those. Thank you.
Bob, do you have anything?
Don't have to add, Mark. Yeah.
Questions from the board?
Hey, Bryce, you mentioned that the accessory apartment will be more than 30% of the main residence. Do you have an estimate of how much of a percentage that would be?
Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Sorry.
Do we have an estimate as to the percentage that the accessory dwelling unit would be in comparison to the main residence? That's the question? I do not have an estimate. Part of the reason for that is the first floor, we still have to essentially map it out because there is an existing utility room there as well. So in terms of when we apply for permits and whatnot to make these modifications, then we'll have a more definite idea. But right now, I can't give you an exact number. So I guess what I would request is if the relief is granted by the board, it would be limited to the existing first floor of the structure, the footprint as existing currently.
So the entire structure.
Well, for the accessory apartment, only the first floor, obviously.
George, have anything?
I'm good.
Anybody in the audience want to speak for or against? All right, motion of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulation that this cannot be a rental unit.
I'll second it.
Gerard?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Dr. Marcus, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a good night, everybody.
You also.
Good night.
All right, Pacific Outdoor, what? Oh, what was it?
Is six still on the first night? Okay. Oh, what about five?
All right, Pacific Outdoor Advertising, LLC, 23 Wendy Drive, Linwood, New Jersey.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Richard DeMarco. I'm here for Pacific Outdoor Advertising. I have some exhibits for you. If I can approach, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, one to the township. May I?
Sure.
Who's the mail-ins, I guess?
Yeah, the mailings are over there.
Okay, great, thanks.
I included we had a continued hearing, so I included all the certified mailings, all the receipts. They're at tab 10 and 11. So the tab 10 are the certified mailing receipts and signed green cards for tonight's meeting, and 11 is for the August meeting that we continued.
Yep, I see them. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So, and we have a number of boards. We have Joe Jacobs, who's the proprietor of Pacific Outdoor Advertising. We have Joe Estock, who's our engineer. We have a number of mounted boards that we can place, or let you look at. We're here for both a conditional use for the use and for dimensional variances from the ordinance. Concurrent with tonight's application is a zoning change that's being considered by the Township Council to change the zoning classification of a certain area where the billboards will be placed to commercial. And as you well know, it's on this property in which the billboards are proposed. Why don't we put the first site plan up so we can indicate the position of the billboards. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a revenue generating proposal for the township. The billboards have been requested by the township. There are 3 leases, which are tab 4 of your packet, are the leases that are being entered into. The total annual revenue for the township will be $104,000 annually, plus 20% of the revenue which will be generated from the billboards.
That's incorrect. It's a minimum of 104,000 up to 20%, which could raise.
Oh, excuse me, up to 20%, but the 20% is likely to be more than the minimum, forgive me. So, in other words, we think that the billboard revenue will be greater than 104,000, so it'll be greater than that. And Joe Jacobs can provide more detail about that when I ask him to speak in a moment. I wanted to give you a preview. So we require some dimensional variances from the ordinance. And let me list them for you. Our application for variances, the first tab, and the variances are a number of the buffer requirements in the code. The setback from other billboards, these billboards are within 1,000 feet of each other. And the exact distances are 550 feet from the first billboard to the second billboard, and it's 780 feet from the second billboard to the third billboard. There is a residential district that's within 416 feet, which is the last billboard. Also, there's a small, why don't I go ahead and indicate? So this is a residential property. Okay. Test, there we go. So this property right here is actually residentially zoned. So this billboard here is, and you see the indicator here, it's 326 feet right here. And then these, it's 416 feet from this residential area. Now, as you'll see from some of our documents, we have renderings for you, which we'll show you in a moment. This is a densely wooded area, and the billboard will certainly be obstructed from view from any residentially zoned properties over here. This is the middle billboard, and this is the billboard, the middle billboard. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. And this is the first billboard here. So they're V-shaped, as you can see. They face towards the highway and away from the interior of the property. Some of these ball fields are not going to see the illuminated facings. It's really the back of the billboards that face into the property and to the ball fields and the buildings. Okay. But to the other variances, we are asking also for the distance from the highway. There's a 100 feet setback requirement. So what you'll hear from Joe Jacobs on this is that that would place the billboards out of view from the highway. So the 100-foot setback is not feasible and really defeats the purpose of the billboard. We have a variance for sign height. Your ordinance calls for 20 feet, and these proposed signs are 90 feet. But what you'll hear about that is the 20 feet is too small. It actually would just barely come over the sound barriers that are along the highway, so we really need the additional feet. Also, it needs to be visible in order to be effective. The other variance is distance from the rear lot line, which is a 500 feet requirement. They're about 400 feet and change, and then the landscaping requirements. So why don't I do this? I'm going to ask Joe to answer a few questions, and of course, the board can then ask questions. So I'll ask Joe to step up, I guess. Joe?
Joe, can you raise your right hand?
Sure.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Jacobs.
Thank you.
So Joe, why don't you give your official title and a description of what you do for a living?
I'm the owner and president of Pacific Outdoor Advertising. I've been involved in the billboard business for approximately 35 years. I've developed somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 billboards in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in California, and different parts of the country.
And do you work with other townships with regards to some of the, or all of those projects?
Yes, I do. I've done private-public partnerships with the Delaware River Port Authority. I was the first billboard company to do a project with the Delaware River Port Authority on the Walt Whitman Bridge. I also did one on the Ben Franklin Bridge. I've done a number of deals with the South Jersey Transportation Authority on the Atlantic City Expressway. And more recently, I've done a project with the city of Secaucus on property owned by Secaucus in Hudson County. And I'm in the process of completing a project with the town of Leonia, which is located in Bergen County.
And why don't you, sorry.
Yes.
Why don't you explain to the board what I was trying to discuss about the 20% revenue share from these billboards, why you think that will be a lucrative situation for the township?
Yeah, the dollars that my lawyer indicated to the board, that's the bare minimum of what the township would get. It's essentially 100 and some odd thousand or 20% of the gross revenue, whichever is greater. We anticipate that the 20% will be a greater number. But in addition to that, there's some other benefits to the township. For example, emergencies. We do amber alerts and silver alerts and gold alerts, but more particular to the town, God forbid if a child is lost, we work with your police department so that we can put that on the digital billboards in real time. If there's any other type of emergency, we can put that on the billboard in real time. Billboards today save lives. We also work with a number of justice departments with respect to criminals that may be on the loose, whether it's the U.S. Marshal or the FBI or entities like that. And in addition to that, if there are public events that the township would like to get out to the public, we will place those on the billboard at no cost as well.
And as far, let's show the renderings. You know, Joe, can you put the renderings up on the easel? Yeah, thank you. Let's go through one at a time. If you want to put it on the easel, that'd be great, if it fits. So let's get to. We're going to put the renderings up as close so the board members can see it. But let's talk about how you, the decision, how you decided where to place the billboards on the site and their visibility vis-a-vis some of the neighboring properties, the residential properties. Why don't you
I can
why don't
speak
you
from
go ahead
here.
and summarize? Yeah.
Essentially, every board that you'll see with respect to the placement of the billboards, they can't be seen by any residential families or residential community at all. They're buffered by the trees and they're oriented specifically to the road. They're as close as we could get to the road because they're designed for traffic to see them, not for anybody else to see these boards. So they're oriented directly to the roads and away from any residential areas that could possibly be affected.
And do the billboards, as designed, pose any danger to motorists on the highways?
No, they don't.
And does PennDOT and the highway district, do they allow for these?
PennDOT, what we're proposing are smaller coverage of boards than what PennDOT would allow. PennDOT would allow us to do 1,000 square feet on each face. What we're proposing is 672 square feet on each face. So we're much less than what PennDOT would allow.
And did you hear my summary about if you were to have to comply with the 100-foot setback from the highway and the height limitation of 20 feet? How would that impact the effectiveness of the billboard?
Well, we wouldn't be here this evening because no one would develop a billboard under those strict rules and regulations.
And if you had to set back 100 feet, would it even be visible to the highway?
No.
So as far as the placement of the billboards, did you place the billboards in such a manner that you would minimize and have the least deviation from the buffer requirements?
Yes.
Okay, in order to be effective with it to the roadway, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. All right. I mean, I think that's all I have for Joe. And by the way, did you hear my summary, and was it accurate and factually accurate to your knowledge?
Yes.
And would you adopt it as your formal testimony in this manner?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have, unless there's questions from the board. We have Joe Estock here as well. I just have maybe a few questions for him. If you want to ask Joe any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you.
So this is the middle billboard. This, by the way, is at tab. These renderings are in your packet, tab 8. And this is the third billboard. So you can see there's a lot of dense vegetation. You really can't, it's really going to be obstructed per Joe's explanation. So let me just have Joe Estock answer a few quick questions, and then we can complete formal testimony.
I do.
So, sorry. Oh, you want to use, why don't you stand close to me? There you go, like that. So how are billboards designed? Are they engineered specifically by engineers?
Yes, every billboard is designed by a structural engineer. They develop a set of drawings with associated computations, and then they are reviewed and approved before construction.
Okay, and if you look at the rendering, they look on a very slender base. Can you explain to the board how they are supported and whether there's any danger of impact from extreme weather or anything like that?
No, they're designed for the wind loads and the other dead loads of the sign in itself. And dead loads, actually the weight of the sign in itself, with full concrete foundations and a steel pole, monopole.
And you did the drawings in this matter, correct? The site plans and okay. And do you agree with Joe and my summary regarding the visibility of the billboards to the neighboring residents? Do you want to explain to the board your agreement with that?
No, I do agree with that, yes.
Okay. And are they placed in the most efficient location in order to be effective as a billboard advertisement?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So that's all I have for formal testimony. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the conditional use is the use that we're requesting, which is already established as a permitted use within the township. The dimensional variances that we're requesting are absolutely necessary to have an effective outdoor advertisement scenario. The beneficiary is the township and its residents through the revenue that's going to be generated. Obviously, this is not adverse to the health, safety, and welfare. It's going to have public service announcements. You're going to have emergency, immediate alerts that are going to be, you're going to be in coordination, the company's going to be in coordination with your local police, the FBI, and will be able to use emergency alerts. So this is really a benefit to the township. So the variances are necessary because the use itself is a conditional use. It's permitted when the rezoning takes place. And the revenue is going to go directly to your schools, your police, your highways, your streets, and it's hopefully going to be a terrific partnership. We believe, obviously, that the visibility of the billboards is mitigated. They face away from the residences. They're meant specifically to address the motorists on the highway, and they're at the optimal height and distance so that motorists are not craning their heads. It's right in their field of view. There's no danger. This is something that's already been determined by PennDOT, and we'd ask for your support with that. And this is something that's been being done in conjunction with your township, and hopefully will prevent taxes from having to be raised, and will provide enough revenue to really support your mission. So we're available for questions, and that's all I have. I thank you for your time.
All right. Bob, you got anything? Questions from the board?
I have one small question. It may be minor. You said emergency alerts. I know, say you get on the turnpike there, if there is an accident, would that be displayed as well? You just mentioned like Amber Alerts and other items.
Yes, those type of things would be placed on the board. But the thing that is of particular interest to me is our emergencies that happen in your town. And we coordinate with the police department. As I indicated, if a child's lost or there's some other issue in your town, we put those on the billboard immediately.
Thank you. You did address that. I just was asking that secondary question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if we approve this, just like you said, as long as everything goes with PennDOT, that's the only stipulation. Other than that, motion of the board.
I'll give a motion for it.
I'll second.
Gerard?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Dr. Marcus, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, right.
I signed
I'm sure she would have said something. She did. Motion to adjourn.
We should probably